it also rectified the fact that Cain had said there is no judgment and there is no judge. So Korach, in a way, fixed, even though he said at the beginning, at the end he recognized that God judges and there's judgment, and therefore when he was trapped into the pit, he rectified Hevel, what he had done to Hevel, by saying, no, God is a judge, and fixes what Cain said at the beginning. No, there's no judge. Well, I have to be a judge for my brother, and whatever. He was going against God and judgment. Okay, let's continue. Furthermore, we must understand why Yitro did not come to Moshe by himself, but instead announced his arrival so Moshe would come out to greet him. The explanation, by the way, I don't know if it says here, I just wanted... So it makes you understand a little bit what's going on. Oh, it says here. Okay, so let's try to go quick. So the explanation is based on what we have said, that Yitro was a reincarnation of Cain and was now coming to Hevel's reincarnation, Moshe, to rectify what he had damaged. Our sages disagreed over whether Yitro came to Moshe before the giving of the Torah or after it. They all agree that Moshe's chief rectification is through the Torah. As it is written, all the sayings of God are pure, meaning that the Torah purifies and refines us. Their argument is that according to those who maintain that Yitro came before the Torah was given, he came in order to be rectified by the Torah. According to those who maintain that he came after the Torah was given, he was only able to come because the Torah had been given. So it's a whole different approach to understand. It's not that they're arguing, oh, it came before, it's a chronological order. It's about how does a person get rectified? How did he merit even to come to the Torah? Was it because of the Torah? Or no, he came before in order to be rectified. So it's two different approaches.
What about the Arab? They tagged along before the Torah came.
Yeah.
They also disappeared.
Yeah, but it's then that's too much of a tangent. But Moshe was in charge of them. His soul was connected to the Arab Rav, and he wanted to elevate them to be elevated by the Torah. Yes, that's what they came before anyway. This accords with our sages' statement that when, according to the later opinion, it was the spirituality of the Torah in the world that inspired Yitro to come, or that gave him the spiritual power to overcome his evil side and join the Jewish people. Meaning, when the Torah is learned and the light of Torah is in the world, it, so to speak, sparks on the people in the world that are connected to, or the soul is connected higher. It's like a magnet. You activate the Torah learning, the energy starts, and the people whose soul are, I guess, more pure than others or more sensitive, they get attracted, pulled towards that place, and they naturally come to do tshuva or convert, all different things.
So what about the souls that don't have that natural affinity for the Torah? Isn't that the soul that, to get this plan moving quicker? Aren't those the souls that need to be even more so attracted? Not only because
no, so some people disconnected themselves too much that they are not even sensitive to that.
In like a previous guru.
Yeah.
So they made the free will choice to disconnect.
Oh, we always make free will choice.
No, but I'm saying in the previous guru, so now they're suffering.
Right. So they have to come and try to break their right. They have to break those shells.
So to commit the karet or something like that.
The committed what?
Commit the sin that is karet. That's
right. Karet, for example.
That's those
right.
Souls.
Right. So this accords with our sages' statement that when the Jewish people stood around Mount Sinai and received the Torah, their defilement was removed, for the Torah purifies everything. The defilement referred to here is the defilement of subjective ego that was introduced into the human psyche when the primordial snake raped Eve. We're not speaking of physical rape. According to the Kabbala, what happened is that the snake slept with Eve. On the spiritual level.
No, the Parasha explains that sex can also be Like
Right, because das, it says, when Adam knew his wife and they had children, what do you say the term knowledge? For intimacy, it speaks about knowledge. Why speak of knowledge? Because the whole idea of intimacy is to become one with the other. How do you become one with the other? The ultimate level of become one with his wife is really you are one in your mind. You think the same. You feel the same. You want the same. That's why I say spiritual love. The 5 levels of love, and it's called spiritual love. Is like all of a sudden, like sometimes I sing a song in my mind, and my wife starts singing the song out loud. Like we're like spiritual love, like directly connected. So. So by accepting the Torah, the Jewish people were cured of this primordial spiritual disability and remained in this condition until the sin of the golden calf. So, evidently, the Jewish people's acceptance of the Torah affected the world at large as well, enabling Yitro, the arch idolater, to join the Jewish people. So the Arizal now will discuss the evolution of the primordial sin. In the beginning, by the way, you know what's the first sin that happened in the world?
Jealousy.
What?
No.
Jealousy.
No. Well, not exactly. Who committed the first sin in the world, or in the history of the world?
Chava.
The first.
Nachash.
No,
Nachash.
no,
Nachash.
wrong,
Chava.
wrong.
Trees?
Bah.
Wait,
Don't tell me it's
Adam
God.
didn't admit.
No.
Adam.
What was created on the 4th day?
Animal?
Plants.
No.
The sun and the
sun.
constellations.
Sun and the moon.
Yeah, I want to be a big
Oh.
boss.
The
That was-
moon.
Right.
The first sin in the world is
So
the
it
moon.
jealousy.
What?
Hatred. No. Hatred.
Is
No.
that even
No,
real
moon
though?
was
Is that
jealousy.
like a
It is
marshal?
was
No, it's a
jealousy.
marshal.
Jealousy.
It's a marshal.
That's what I
But
thought.
we have to understand that every entity in the world has a spiritual
Jealousy was jealousy.
how to say it, a kind of spiritual consciousness. Just like you have a consciousness. So every element in the world has a consciousness. It's different than our consciousness because we have free will. But it's to teach us something, right? Everything in the Torah, everything has a meaning, everything to teach us something. So in the beginning of the creation of the world, the first damage occurred when the moon accused God. Now it's interesting that the moon, who represents which people? The Jewish people,
Oh,
right?
Reflect the
We
light of
Jews
the-
represent the Jewish people.
We accuse God all the time.
Right, yeah, exactly. Why do you do that, God? Why? Why me? Right? So God made the 2 great luminaries, the greater light to rule the day and the smaller light to rule the night. The sun and the moon are first called the 2 great luminaries, implying that they were originally... Hey, we miss you today. It's good to have you now.
Got you too.
Implying that they were originally the same size. They were both equally great. But the sages tell us the moon immediately protested over having to rule jointly with the sun, so God diminished it, leaving a greater light to rule the day and a smaller light to rule the night. By the way, it's an interesting idea that if you want to reflect upon it, it's not time for now, it's too long. But basically, what I understood is the sun and the moon represents the head and the heart. Originally, the head and the heart were supposed to be as strong to each other. And what happens, like, how can you have the emotions as powerful as the brain, or the brain as powerful as the emotions? And it was the heart saying, no, you have to have or the head controlling or the heart controlling, right? Then it's a philosophical discussion. It should be the primary force the emotions, or the primary force the thoughts. Now, let's understand also that the head and the heart, actually he speaks about it, obviously, because everything is connected. But the head and the heart represents, the head is usually the man, for those who come to the relationship, and the heart corresponds to the woman.
And
Yes.
the head's the moon, the sun, and the heart's the moon.
The sun,
Yeah.
the sun is the head, and
Right.
the
So then
moon is the heart.
the woman is the one that
The moon,
said,
The
I
woman
wanna
is the
be-
moon, yeah.
right. Which the Jewish people is the woman, the female of God.
Representation. The
Represent-
moon reflects the light of the sun.
Right.
Right, but what I'm saying is how the moon came and said Hashem, I'm protesting.
Right. So
But is it really a female element that protested in the world to be the first?
yeah.
Women
It's
are much more
represented by the
stubborn
moon.
than men.
That's why Eve made that sin.
Okay.
Haters.
Okay, guys, sure. Obviously, all those things of protesting, you have to try and understand, God wants us to have a relationship with Him. So we think, what do you mean protesting with God? What can you protest with God? The whole idea is that there's a relationship with God, and whatever we say matters to God because He wants us to have that type of relationship, like two people, and that's what marriage is all about: learning to understand the other, the relationship works. So obviously, the sages do not mean to tell us that the moon was petty or jealous in the conventional sense. Okay, that's for kindergarten. We are speaking on the college level here. Right? Academical. Rather, what we are witnessing here is part of the process through which God established the duality, binary code, 1 and 0, right? The duality in creation between male and female, or giver and recipient. He intended from the outset that there be a greater and a smaller luminary, one radiating and one reflective. Obviously, the creation was supposed to be just two things: God giving and the Jewish people receiving the what God gives and giving back, reflecting what God gives. So
If they were supposed to be just receiving and giving it back, so why the moon was created like a sun at the first place?
Because
you hear me, right?
right, because God wanted Adam to be in the image of God.
But
Why did God create the woman? Why did God took the woman out of the man? Because Rashi says, "Lo tov heyod Adam levado." If man is gonna be alone here, he's gonna think he's God, and he does. And there's one God here and one God there, and he doesn't need anybody. I'm God. I'm self-sufficient. I don't need to give to receive from anybody. So God says, You see that woman? She's going to remind you that you're nothing without her, that you need to have a relation of giving, taking, giving, receiving.
yes.
And this way you understand that you need to have a relationship with God. So that separation from Adam into two, which is like the sun and the moon, and into two different things. And that's why, the one dominant after the curse was the man should dominate against the curse. It's not a good thing. The man should dominate the woman. Some say, it's a curse on the woman that the man should dominate the woman.
No, there's a curse on the entity, which is two. That's
Right.
the whole
Yeah,
thing,
but it should. You will go after. You will crave your husband. Meaning you will look up at your husband.
Right. What I'm saying is the entity of Adam and Chava is one.
Right.
It's
Was
a curse on that entity.
Right.
Because it's
Yes.
half now.
And the man is
So
like the sun,
domination is still
and the
cursed.
woman is the moon. Right. And the woman is the moon, and the man brings, so to speak, the raw material, and the woman takes it and processes it and builds something from it. Okay, there's many layers here. We
I'm sorry,
can.
you were talking about domination or something. I didn't follow.
No, it says one of the curse is that to say the man will when Adam sinned,
Oh, yeah.
that the man would be more dominant in the relationship.
It's through his smallness that he can elevate himself.
What?
It's the fact that he gets diminished. That's why he can elevate himself. Because if you're right here,
Right.
how farther can you go?
So women
Sure.
bring us up by dragging us down?
You could put it that way, but no, by teaching us to be a giver. That's different. I call it that my wife is my teacher. You need to understand that. You can make some Jewish jokes, about it. Okay, since both are necessary components of creation, there is no intrinsic superiority of one over the other. From God's perspective, they are both great luminaries. Still, in the context of creation, there is an implied superiority of the giver over the recipient. And in order for the creative drama to unfold, creation's perspective must be allowed to prevail over the creators. Thus, as soon as it was created, the moon was immediately diminished. Okay? So, let's understand with that. The sin of the moon and its subsequent banishment from the daytime is seen as the precursor to the sin of Adam and Eve with the fruit of the tree of knowledge and their subsequent banishment from the Garden of Eden.
But we can see the moon in the day.
Right, sometimes, yeah.
It's just that it's not the source of light in the day.
Right. It has meaning. I mean, there's...
Well, it's not the source of life, period. That's the thing. It reflects.
I mean, from our perspective, it's not the source of light.
No, but doesn't